Okay, so there was a point sometime in June where I decided I kind of wanted to be a bit more introspective about my life. I really just kind of took some time to think about, like, it was less of a, like, where am I at, where am I going, where do I want to be, but was just kind of more thinking, what are the things I like about myself? Why do I like them? What are the things I don't like about myself? Why are they a problem? Like, things like that. And one thing I did as well was thought to myself, what are some of my favorite parts of the Bible? Like, what are some, it's a big book, but of this big book, what are some parts that resonate with me? Like, there's things like the entirety of Samuel, which I just love because it's just a really cool story from almost like start to finish. But I don't know if I would say that, like, David is a story that I love, but it's not like, man, this left a resting impact on my soul necessarily. It's just really, really cool, but I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. But what are some of those moments that really imprinted on my soul? And I don't know how long this video is. You obviously do already. So there's 3 that I can think of, and I don't know if I'm going to get to all 3 of them because this first one is long, even just like reading it, because I do plan to like read the whole thing. But then to also talk about why. So I'm probably just going to do this first one, which is 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 1 through 18, which is the vast majority of that chapter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it, then kind of explain the context, what happened before and what happened after, and then why it's something that hits me so hard. So here we go. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life, and came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die, and said, It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am no better than my fathers. And as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him and said unto him, Arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baken onto the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drank, and laid him down again. And the angel of the Lord came again the second time, and touched him, and said, Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. And he arose, and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God. And he came thither unto a cave, and lodged there, and behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said unto him, What doest thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And he said, Go forth, and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains, and brake in the pieces the rock before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire a still small voice. And it was so, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle, and went out, and stood in the entering of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him, and said, What doest thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, because the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And the Lord said unto him, Go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus, and when thou comest, anoint Hazael, Hazael to be king over Syria, and Jehu, the son of Nimshi, shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel, and Elisha, the son of Shaphat of Abel Mahala, shalt thou anoint to be prophet in thy room. And it shall come to pass that him that escapeth the sword of Hazael shall Jehu slay, and him that escapeth the sword of Jehu shall Elisha slay. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which hath not kissed him. That is one of my favorite parts of the entire Bible, and one that really means a lot to me. So, now that the reading is done, just kind of the full context, what happened before and what happened after. So before this is, if I'm remembering correctly, essentially there was kind of a duel between the prophets of Baal. I'm going to go probably back and forth into pronouncing it Baal and Baal, but the prophets of Baal and the prophet of God, which was Elijah. And I believe the terms of the duel were, we're both going to pray to our God, and we've got like it was like a staircase or something of water, and we're going to pray that the water will alight, and whichever God does that, that is the winner. That is the true God. So the prophets of Baal are, they're praying, they're prostrating themselves before him. I believe a lot of it is like they have to cut and mutilate themselves as well, and as they're calling to their God, nothing is happening. And I also think that Elisha's taunting them as it's happening too, to like, hey, maybe you should pray a little louder. Maybe you didn't quite see what you were doing there. Maybe you want to try it again. And like, they go for hours on end and nothing happens. And eventually the prophets of Baal have to give up. Then it's Elijah's turn. And Elijah just kind of goes, all right, God, can you do this for me? And then it just immediately happens. So Elijah wins the duel, like tells the people watching, like, all right, we won, they lost, this is the one true God, kill them all. So then all the prophets of Baal die. So then what happens here? Ahab, who was the king of Israel at that time, talks to his wife. Jezebel is like, all right, this is what happened, because Jezebel was very much into Baal. And then she tells Elijah, I'm going to kill you for this. As she says, like, if you are not like them tomorrow, then may something worse happen to me. So Elijah hears that and bails. No pun intended. He's like, I have to leave because she's crazy and she will get me killed. And as he's running and he has that moment to just sit and relax, he says, God, take me. This is a lot. I can't do this anymore. And the angel comes to him and says, eat, drink, and then keep going. And he keeps going. And when he gets there, he's asked, why are you here, Elijah? And then he gives his response. And then there's a whole bunch of chaos. There's the big wind, there's the earthquake, there's the fire. But God doesn't communicate to him through any of those. It's this soft, still voice that repeats that question. Why are you here? What doest thou here, Elijah? To which he repeats, like, this is why I'm here. This is what I'm going through right now. I am in a place where no one else supports you. I have seen the people turn from you. I am fearing for my life. I'm the only one left. And then God tells him, okay, this is what I'm going to have you do. Go anoint this guy, and this guy. This dude will take care of business, and whatever business he doesn't take care of, this dude is going to take care of, and whatever he doesn't take care of, this dude is going to take care of. Is that it? Oh, that's neat. Sorry, I just saw like a pair of, I don't know what bug that is. Is that a dragonfly? Just like landed on top of the hood of my car. That was kind of neat. Anyways, just like this dude, and this dude. Because I've got you. And then what happens not long after this? Elijah goes, anoints Jehu king over Israel. Jehu goes and takes care of business. Like, Jezebel is not a problem after this. So it is, here is the promise. And then here's the follow through. And the reason there's a little bit more follow through, which is partly why it's a part of the Bible that means so much to me. I know he's back. Yeah, that's totally a dragonfly. That's so neat. I'm sorry, getting distracted. Is Elijah's legacy is that this is considered one of the great prophets in the Bible. He is the one that is, if I'm remembering this correctly, he's the one who's kind of supposed to come before the Messiah. That's why, like, John the Baptist is kind of, I don't know if reincarnation is the right word, but it's that spirit of Elijah is in John the Baptist and then Jesus. Elijah is also, I believe, one of 2 people in the Bible to not die. The other is Enoch, who was someone who was so close to God that one day God just kind of took him home. And that something similar happens to Elijah, where everyone knows, yeah, this is the day that God is going to take him. And it's like a big chariot of fire, I think is right. And Elisha sees it. It's really cool. But this is someone who is known as like the best of the best. Someone who was so good and like for God that he didn't even die. This is also someone who was able to call like fire from heaven and make a miracle. And like the next day or the day after was begging for death because he didn't think he could do it anymore. Elijah is never chastised for that. He's never looked down for that. It's not like later prophets will say, man, like Elijah was great, but then he showed weakness and he showed fear. No one ever says that. And that's what makes it really stick with me. This is a man of like utmost character and faith, but was still human. But he's never chastised for being human. Like for me, when I read God saying like, what doest thou here, Elijah? Or in other translations, like, why are you here, Elijah? At least for me, I don't hear it as accusatory, like, come on, Elijah, what are you doing here? Especially because it's that soft, still voice. What are you doing here? Why are you here, Elijah? And after Elijah gives an answer, he gives his true, honest to God answer. God says, okay, I've got you. I'm going to take care of this. And then he does. When Elijah prays for death, the angel comes and essentially says to him, I want you to rest. I want you to, like, eat, drink, get your strength back. Now I need you to keep going. Because I know you can. You needed to rest. You need to get your strength up. But I know you can keep going. And then later, I've got you. And it's also very meaningful to me that it's like, yeah, God wasn't in the wind, God wasn't in the earthquake, God wasn't in the fire. Because even with all the chaos and the might and the power that could be, that's not what he chose to do. God is there in the chaos, like amidst the chaos, but he's not the chaos. He's the stillness and the comfort that comes after. Because you can make it through the chaos. You can make it through those hard times. Sometimes all you really need is to just rest, to get your strength back up, because you can keep going. I'll be honest, I'll be vulnerable. I have had times in my life where I have been ready to die, where I have thought like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. But every time I've been able to keep going. And that's not always easy. That can be really, really hard. But there is that comfort in knowing that, hey, I've got you. I will make sure that what you need, the thing you need, the person you need to deliver you from this, I will send them your way. What Hazel doesn't take care of, Jehu will. What Jehu doesn't take care of, Elisha will. I've got you. I just really wanted to share that. I think that's it for today. I might go over one of the other two, or maybe both of the other two, like next week or so, because I've done this 2 Thursdays in a row. I don't know, I might do it next week too, but we'll see. But I'm starting to end there. But whoever you are, whatever brought you to this video, I hope you're doing okay. Whatever chaos you have, whatever storms you're going through, whether it's wind, whether it's fire, whether it's earthquakes, whether it's Jezebel going after you because she's mad at you, maybe it's a health problem, maybe it's a family issue, I don't know. But I hope you're okay. I hope you know that you can keep going. As difficult as that might be, just make sure you rest, make sure you eat, make sure you drink your water, just like Elisha did, and keep going. Because after the chaos, and the chaos will end, there will be comfort.